Hey, my name is Cesar Vittel, and today we'll be discussing the basic principles of the court organization. Right, so, the dual court system. It established the state courts and the federal courts. There's one national court system, which is the Supreme Court, and then 50 state courts. There is also congruent jurisdiction, basically meaning that um, the federal and the state courts share judicial power. So then we have the jurisdiction. Jurisdiction basically decides a dispute. For example, California can hear cases in Montana, Montana can hear cases in California. There's types of jurisdiction, for example, geographical jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction, hierarchical jurisdiction, and also on the slide we'll be looking at a case. So as Associate Justice Sonia said, there's less volume, but every case the Supreme Court takes is a Supreme Court case. Basically, what she's trying to say here, there is jurisdiction. For example, Supreme Court cases can't hear all types of cases. They have some jurisdiction. For example, a violation of the Constitution is one case they could hear. Then we now jump into the geographical jurisdiction. Geographical jurisdiction basically limits the power of the courts to hear certain dispute within their geographical boundaries. As I discussed earlier, California can't hear cases in Montana, Montana can't hear cases in California. However, the national court can hear all cases throughout the United States. And then there's subject matter jurisdiction. There are two types: general subject matter jurisdiction, which gives the courts to hear any kind of case within its geographical jurisdiction, and then there's limited subject matter jurisdiction, which courts can only hear certain cases. Then we have the personal jurisdiction. Ultimately, gives subject matter jurisdiction to the courts to exercise power over an individual person or corporation. For example, if a person committed a crime in California, California has personal jurisdiction on that individual, even if they're citizens from Montana, because if they committed a crime in California, they are responsible of that crime to be tried in California. And then, as Patrick G. Botcher said in a previewed article, personal jurisdiction in the United States is an issue of the constitutional law. Basically, what he's trying to say here is that it can be very confusing. For example, me in California, there are certain laws that New York doesn't have. And if I go to New York, I would have to know their laws. And sometimes I don't know all their laws in New York because I don't live in New York. I'm just visiting. So if I go to New York and I commit a crime, I'm basically a personal jurisdiction to New York. So that's basically what he's trying to say, is that it can be very confusing. And then lastly, we have hierarchical jurisdiction, which gives courts certain functions and responsibilities among the state and national courts. There are two types: original jurisdiction and appellate jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction basically means that the case has not been decided. Appealing jurisdiction means that the case has already been decided but has been appealed for review. And now we look into the case as Cohen versus Virginia, a case that raised a question on who has jurisdiction over the Cohen versus Virginia case. Basically, the Cohen's brother began selling DC lottery tickets in Virginia. They were charged and convicted by the state authorities, and then they appealed. The Supreme Court ultimately took that case, but the state said that the case was already settled and that Virginia had personal jurisdiction on that case, so that Supreme Court did not have jurisdiction to hear that case. So then here's a cartoon illustration of the case. They were selling it, they were caught, they went to court, they appealed, they went to the Supreme Court, they were found guilty. Basically, the Supreme Court did highlight Article 2, Section 2 in response to Virginia's argument. They said that the Supreme Court has jurisdiction over all cases relating to law and equity. And also they highlighted Article 6, basically saying that the federal law is superior to the state law. And then ultimately, the Supreme Court found the Cohens guilty as well. However, the case is important because it discussed issues on congruent jurisdiction and all types of jurisdiction discussed previously. For example, Virginia having personal jurisdiction on the case. And lastly, it also touched base on the appealing jurisdiction after it was originally decided by Virginia. It was appealed and went to Supreme Court. So that's basically my whole presentation. If you enjoyed, thank you.